When State of Decay hit Xbox Live in June, it became an instant hit. Despite mediocre graphics, several glitches, and a frame rate that often chugs along, it became the fastest-selling original Xbox Live Arcade game of all time, with over 500,000 paid downloads in less than 2 weeks. PC gamers were only recently let in on the zombie open-world RPG action when State of Decay launched on Steam earlier this month. On the right hardware, the PC version boasted a vastly improved frame rate and greater graphical fidelity, letting the fantastic gameplay truly shine. The first DLC for State of Decay comes in the form of Breakdown, a sort of RPG horde mode that forgoes any plot or character development, light as they may have been in the original game. Instead, you begin every game selecting a hero with very little supplies and in need of finding a new home.
Hey, I just got a call from a survivor. They really sound like they know what they're doing. You want to go bring them in?
Lily returns as your omnipotent radio operator, alerting the player to new missions and updating the situation on your co-opted home. Your objective in each round remains constant: find and establish a new home, recruit a community, and eventually find and repair an RV to escape the valley. After the RV is loaded, the world refreshes and begins anew on a harder difficulty, with less vehicles, weapons, and supplies available to fight the growing horde, and you restart your quest to establish a new home in the valley in hopes of surviving one more round. The gameplay is identical to the original game. There's no new items, weapons, or vehicles at the player's disposal. The missions too are familiar fare, consisting of fetch quests, escort missions, rescue duty, and keeping the peace at home. The story-driven missions are noticeably absent, leading to some amount of tedium as you drive several virtual miles to kill the 2 zombies your supply runner couldn't handle on his or her own. The feeling of tedium becomes exacerbated in later rounds when vehicles become increasingly scarce. It's not more difficult to walk across the map for lack of a vehicle, it's simply less fun. The graphics remain the same mixed bag as the original. Animations can be downright beautiful as you slow motion crush a zombie's head, but draw distance, slowdown, and clipping issues remain. None of this really detracts in any meaningful way from the game, however. The voice acting, too, is recycled. You'll still learn that Raphael Eckner is an alcoholic, and Vivian Gomez is an online shopper through the same dialogue from the original game. Crushing a Zed skull or running over an entire horde remains satisfyingly visceral, and the gun sound effects are appropriately loud when unsuppressed. Some of the plot-related chatter feels out of place in a mode lacking a story, however. Breakdown is attempting to be an offline MMORPG. It purposefully lacks any semblance of a story other than the quest for survival. Because there's no save files, and death is permanent, the intense desire to simply stay alive is sometimes brilliantly realized. Unfortunately, the tedium of day-to-day apocalyptic life can detract from that brilliance. The things that Breakdown excel at remain the same as the core game. Death is permanent, the march of time is unstoppable even when you're not playing the game, and running over a zombie horde in an F-150 simply never gets old. If you were one of the million-plus people who enjoyed State of Decay, but found the story unnecessary and would have preferred a higher level of difficulty, Breakdown is an easy recommendation at $7. You get a never-ending, ever-changing world to play in. State of Decay remains an excellent value proposition, but it's hard not to feel that an opportunity was missed to continue the cliffhanger ending of the original game, or provide new locations in which to play. Perhaps future DLC will cater to those of us who are more invested in the plot and want to know what happens after the escape from Turnbull Valley.